RT's Marie Finoshna there. Israel's launched its own investigation into the deadly raid on an aid ship flotilla bound for Gaza that happened 2 weeks ago. Another probe's been set up after the Jewish state rejected an international inquiry proposed by the UN. The three-man panel will consist of a former Israeli Supreme Court judge, a retired Major General and a professor of international law. Israel says 2 foreign experts will join the commission as well, including the Nobel Peace Prize winner and ex-Northern Ireland First Minister David Trimble. The announcement comes after 9 activists were killed in May when a humanitarian aid ship was stormed by the Israeli army. The attack had consequences beyond just political condemnation for Israel. As RT's Paula Sleer reports now, it also includes the breaking of economic and cultural ties with the Jewish state.
International condemnation and outrage against the Jewish state mounts, on top of criticism of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for his settlement expansion policies, which are illegal under international law. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has banned Palestinians from buying Israeli products made in the settlements, but only around 2 to 3% of Israeli exports are settlement-made. Pro-Palestinian campaigners want to widen the campaign, calling for an international trade, cultural and academic boycott of Israel, and targeting companies worldwide involved in projects connected to the Israeli occupation.
We are asking them, you have to meet your morals. You have first to their countries even. You have to disinvest from this. You have to stop this relation because you are responsible over the oppression of the Palestinians.
Eyal Cohen is miserable. For weeks he's been looking forward to the Pixies rock concert. But as did Elvis Costello, Gil Scott-Heron and Santana, the group recently announced it was cancelling its first ever concert in Israel. It seems that more international artists don't want to be seen as supportive of Israeli government policy towards Palestinians, which English rock star Costello said represented humiliation and intimidation.
I think they thought that there will be consequences if they don't come, because the rest of the world will look up to the band and say, we don't want them to come over here because they are pro-Israeli.
Denmark's largest bank, Danske Bank, has also announced it's pulling out of 2 Israeli companies involved in the settlements. Elbit Systems provides surveillance equipment for the separation wall, and Africa Israel builds Jewish houses in the West Bank. Neither company would talk to us on camera. But Israel says the bank is singling it out unfairly and disproportionately compared to other countries with human rights issues.
Now, if the issue were really human rights, you'd think they'd start with China or with the Sudan, which of course has a civil war going on now. You would be hard-pressed to find a country which has as good a human rights record as the little state of Israel.
But Palestinians disagree. Only international condemnation will change Israel's actions, they say.
It's the only abuser of human rights, the only major violator of international law that's accepted in the West as a democracy, and receives enormous financial aid, academic, cultural, diplomatic aid from Western mainstream governments. In other words, it is the West that put Israel on a pedestal as an exception, as above international law.
Israelis fear a boycott from Europe, which is the country's largest export market. Already, the European Court of Justice has ruled that goods made in the settlements are not Israeli and therefore don't benefit from preferential access to EU markets. Israel has rejected an international inquiry into the flotilla raid, adding fuel to the campaign of those who want to boycott the Jewish state. The strains of a siege are now being felt not just by Gazans, but by Israel's political leaders who are facing increasing international pressure to bring it to an end. Paula Sleer, RT, Tel Aviv.